Hey, how's everybody doing today? And welcome back for the next episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And today I have the CEO and founder of a couple of companies, Simetrix and Zentara. And I think Zentara is more of a product offering that we'll get into here for sure with Gerti Haxhiu. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Close enough.
Close enough. Excellent. Gertie, thank you very much for being a guest on this episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And I'd like you to kind of introduce yourself to the viewers. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what have you been up to these days?
Well, sure. Well, the simple way to describe what I do is I run and operate contact centers. I don't consult them. I don't invest in them. I actually run them. And
Excellent.
Simetrix is a contact center outsourcing company. We're based in the US and in Central Europe, and we manage customer-facing operation for businesses that need scale. We also offer the multilingual capabilities and consistent performance. So pretty much we own the outcome. So when a client customer had a bad experience, that's on us, not on a scorecard somewhere. So it's on us. So and we
Excellent.
build metrics deliberate this way because I believe the only way to truly understand the contact center is to live it, to live the consequences of running one. And that experience of owning outcomes, not just reporting on them, because it's different when you just report on them and you actually own them. It's what
Mhm.
eventually forced us to build Zentara. So because at some point the tools available to run a modern contact center were stopped being good enough. So, and I don't mean slightly inconvenient. I mean we're making $1 million decisions about clients operations with data that was incomplete. So that's what we moved into.
And that's a great segue into Zentara. Um, I'd
Good.
like to learn. I'd like, let's go ahead and share a little bit about what is Zentara and what was your inspiration for developing the platform?
Well, what Zentara is a full stack contact center intelligent platform. And I want to
Okay.
be precise on this about what full stack means because in the industry, in this space, that word is used loosely.
Okay.
It's not something you plugged in on your existing system. You can, but it's not what it was meant for.
Okay.
It's actually meant to replace your existing system.
Okay.
Voice infrastructure, omni-channel routing, workforce management, real-time coaching, quality assurance, predictive analytics, all of it, one platform, one data model, and one truth. The inspiration, that's embarrassing simple, was I was running operations on tools that didn't talk to each other. And I mean that literally. So look at it like an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
Strings are playing one song, the brass is playing a different song, a completely different song. The drummer is doing whatever he wants, but everyone is doing it very confidently. The conductor is waving his sticks like everything is fine. Nobody in the audience can name what they're hearing, but they're clapping anyways because the musician looks serious. The venue is
Mm-hmm.
nice. Tickets are expensive. And that's actually kind of your modern contact center stack. Very professional,
Yep.
completely unlistenable. And we are all the conductors pretending we can hear a symphony.
Uh,
More like a car alarm, but we actually pretending we're listening to a symphony. And we had the telephone system, we had the QA tools, workforce management systems, we had the business intelligence dashboards from all different vendors,
yep.
different update cycles. Everything shows you a slightly different version of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of hit us like, how can we make decision from this? How do I tell at the end, it ends up with you're going to tell the client what's happening in their operation when your systems don't agree on the answer. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to guess. I mean, you're going to walk into that board meeting and just think you
Yeah.
know, but you actually don't. And you deep down, you know you don't know. So, and we realized that the problem wasn't individual tools because everything is, oh, tool this, everything, like especially nowadays. The problem with the industry had normalized fragmentation. like everyone was patching. Like
Mhm.
nobody was replacing, so everybody's on patching things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna patch anymore. I'm like, let's just create this platform. Like it's gonna help us. Like I'm not worried about. I wasn't worried about anybody else. I was worried about okay, this will help us. And once we start bringing those ideas, the things that we like, let's say you have a meeting with a buddy, and you're talking to him about like, I wish I could have this. I wish I could have that. And your buddy is kind of the positive attitude guy who tells you, well, why don't we create this? Why don't we make this? So
Uh-huh.
that's how it started. And actually, step by step, in the beginning, it looked, I wouldn't say an impossible task, but you you're going against your traditional way,
Yes.
going on a 100% different route. And that's it's different because it's you're going against the systems they're like everybody's trained on, you know?
Hmm.
It seems like you're speaking a different language. And but deep down, everybody has that like, oh yeah, I wish I could have this. And once you start talking to them about it, kind of is like a deja vu. I've thought of this. Like because in our consciousness, we all have thought of this. We need this, we need this, we need this. So that's when we realized like, okay, this and it started taking shape. And when it was taking shape, it was actually becoming pretty good. It was
Excellent.
it was based on it's Zentara is different. What makes it different isn't features.
Mhm.
It's the whole architecture. So when your voice infrastructure, your QA engine, your analytic layers are running on the same data in real time, you start seeing things that they were invisible to the systems when the
Uh-huh.
system. So you can see the customer churn patterns building up across interactions. Agent burnout signals week before they leave or they deter. Because
Yes.
when the agent burnout, that's everybody thinks, okay, the agent is tired, but that's your biggest weakness on your customer CSAT score. They
Hmm.
losing the empathy components. The interactions become automatic, like they lose that customer experience, what they actually and that's why we built them. And then Zentara was built to actually surface these things.
So, so when you look at most contact centers today, um, they have their CCAS, they have their point uh, uh, program or platform for QA, for WFM that may not necessarily all be running on the same platform, and which are probably different than what their CRM is, or their source of truth, or their knowledge base. So then you have all of these interactions, and I can see why you would want to build something that kind of contained everything, um, in a single location, because then you don't have information or data that is then falling into a black hole, um, or a gap that a developer just didn't see. You still so on Zentera, you can actually see where how all of that data or information is moving throughout that entire customer journey. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, that's a 100% accurate statement.
Excellent. Excellent. Now you mentioned CSATs and obviously NPS and CES. And one of the things that when you and I talked previously, um, we talked about was the concept of XLAs. Um, and Zentara was really designed to go ahead and pull out XLAs into the conversation, the conversation with either a BPO or an end user. How are XLAs really different than a company that looks at CSAT or NPS or CES or any other mainstream metric, so to speak? And why should leaders really care about XLAs?
I should have taken the coffee for this answer, so a big cup. Well, it's it's different. So I will start with the problem. Like Every metric people use today, CSAT, NPS, CES, FCR, it's a snapshot. One question, one moment, one customer. And
Hmm.
they all share the same blind spot. They tell you how an interaction felt. They don't tell you whether the relationship survived that interaction. A customer gave you 5 out of 5 and called back 3 times with the same unresolved issue. Frustration is building. Every metric looks fine. The relationship starts to break down. And
Hmm.
the gap the XLA was built to close. For example, if we take all the metrics, let's take CSAT, customer satisfaction score. After an interaction, you ask how satisfied are you from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10.
Hmm.
Simple, direct, intuitive. But where does it break down? It breaks down because there's first response rates 10 to 15%. You're measuring loudest voices, the happy or the furious. The silent majority never responds. So it's kind of a rear view mirror instead of a windshield view. So you're kind of seeing what happened. We measure CSAT a little bit different. We don't do surveys. We actually analyze the sentiment arc, meaning the resolution confirmation language, closing tone, whether the customer's final emotional state reflects genuine satisfaction or
Hmm.
kind acceptance. And every interaction gets a score, not just the 10 or 15% who filled out the form. And then you got the first call, first contact resolution, which is like the main point for everybody
Hmm.
in the industry. And what does it do? Technically, did the customer issue get resolved on the first interaction without a callback, escalation, or repeat contact? The way
Hmm.
you measure it now, it's a more like a factory metric, optimizing. Where does it break down? It's self-reported by agents. So that's a massive inconsistency. What resolved means. For example, did the customer think it was resolved? FCR without verification is just a number. Someone typed it in like a number, someone can type in a field. Uh,
Hmm.
we do it a little differently because we get 4 signals from Zentara. Zentara verifies it itself. Repeat contact detection, because Zentara is a telephony layer as well. It sees every callback and matches it to the same issue category within 72 hours. So it checks the CRM ticket state and analyzes whether the genuine resolution language appeared in the transcript.
Okay.
Customer closing and the customer closing sentiment. So it's a bolt-on QA tool sees one call. Zentara sees what happened before and after it. So for us, we believe that first contact resolution is what the customer thinks first contact resolution. It's kind of that's where the
Yes.
route we went with. And then you have the sentiment, which is lately, especially with the AI, has been like pumped a lot, like, oh, we measure sentiment, but it okay, you analyze the tone, the emotion, the language of the interaction, not a survey. It's kind of
Hmm.
not a self-report, so direct from the voice or text. So, but it breaks down because when used alone, sentiment is reactive. It tells you a call went badly after it's over. One negative score is noise. The volume multiplies when correlated with signals over time. So pretty much you have to differentiate it as well. Like, is the sentiment based on the product or the call? Or I had a frustrating day and I'm calling customer service for X problem, and my sentiment is really low, but has nothing to do with the interaction or what I'm trying to get.
Yes.
So we have to separate that. So our engines scored every turn independently. Customer and agents are separate. We're tracking tone, pace, word choice, silent durations, and interruption patterns. So not an end-to-end call, a full emotional arc, turn by turn. So because you can have two calls have identical final score and completely different stories. The entire capture the story.
So, so with Zentara, because you can capture the end-to-end journey, not just on that particular interaction, but before, after, so you can actually see the level of effort
Mhm.
that a customer or an agent had to get through. So you're helping to identify through XLAs, through the experience level numbers, where the gaps truly are in process and engagement with the customer.
Well, the process is simple. It's a trend, and especially let's say you're running your weekly report.
Yes.
You can extract these numbers.
Okay.
You can extract them. I mean, you can extract them separately, but you can build a story on them.
Uh-huh.
The XLA kind of does all of this. It takes every one of the signals, weighs them by the actual statistical correlation to whether a customer stays or leaves, and
Hmm.
produces a composite score that represents the health of that relationship, not just the quality of the transaction. So pretty much it analyzes it. For example, we have the XLA score is CSAT 25%. FCR plus FCR is 20%, plus sentiment 20%, plus
Hmm.
NPS is 15%, plus resolution quality. It's a metric that we put in Zentara. It's kind of hard to find, but we actually put it. It's 10%, and CS is 10%. And I'm going to talk to you about the resolution quality. What does it measure? Does it measure whether the customer's actual underlying problem was solved, not just whether
Yes.
the ticket was closed? So we score it on the protocol adherence, resolution language, follow up on the same issue, and post-call behavior. So the metric catches the gap between closed on paper and actually closed in reality.
Okay.
And or the NPS. The NPS is very popular. Everybody is how
All
likely
the
you are.
cool kids are using it.
I mean, it's how likely you're to recommend that. So it's promoter minus detractors, like classic. It
Exactly.
measures action, not behavior. So a customer can say 9 out of 10 and churn. It's survey based, slow moving, and by the time you see a trend, the damage is already done. So
Yeah.
our would we don't send a. I mean, we can ask the question during the interaction how likely to recommend it, but that's not what how we measure 100% of the NPS. We see the escalation language, cancellation intent phrases, we see loyalty markers,
Hmm.
repeat contact frequency correlated against a 90-day retention outcome, not one off. And the model learns what behavior actually proceeds when versus staying. So a customer who praised the agent and but called back 4 times, it's not a promoter.
Hmm.
So Zentara actually knows that. Like the Zentara, that's not a promoter. So, and as I mentioned, the ways they're calibrated to retention outcomes, not gut feelings. So first contact resolution and sentiment are more predictive of whether the customer stays on how you rate the survey because I can rate the survey differently. I mean,
Hmm.
you send me a survey, and I can tell you that the agents are trained when they know there's a survey, but at the end of the call, they kind of direct the client for a positive uh
Yes.
CSAT because their bonuses is on it and
Hmm.
how so a customer where the issue resolved on the first call with positive sentiment is far likely to churn and the one that gave you a perfect score. As I said, I can give you a perfect score, but I'm never calling again. Like,
Exactly. You had really nice people, but your product sucks.
so,
Um, you know,
but you don't know
uh,
that,
yeah,
because lately
ex-
everybody's like focused on the, as I said, I call them factory metrics because that's what call centers, contact centers operate on, factory metrics.
yeah.
And but another thing about the XLA is just not the output. So what
Hmm.
Zentara builds underneath is a live data asset. So that's where the value is, not in the score, is what the score reveals about the operation. Because we reveal the churn prediction,
Yeah.
or the customer decides. It's analyzed, like if the FCR drops, the effort climbs, the pattern predicts the churn weeks before the customer cancels or is about to leave. So you're not reacting to churn, you're intervening before decisions is made. So
That's got to be powerful for your clients to have that data, um, to know, hey, on any given day, your churn rate has the potential to be this, and here are the underlying factors of why that churn rate may occur. Get ahead of it today so it doesn't happen tomorrow.
it was funny because we had one of our clients was new. Simetrix client was trying this, and in the beginning they weren't understanding it.
What?
Okay, why is I have 145 clients high risk for churn?
Huh?
And when we looked at the data, we saw the patterns, and they actually made sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was proud too because I'm like, well, that's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
but once you see the pattern, once you see the experiences, and all you gotta do is put yourself in their shoes. If you have to go through that, you are. And and the supervisors were intervening on it. Like, it's different if I intervene 2 weeks when I see it on a report and I call you, try to make it better. It's
Yep.
done. I can intervene on the spot. Like,
Hmm.
you've been a customer of mine for this much. I would hate to have you have a bad experience with us. How can I make it better? It's different. That's the effort you actually show instead of customer on the QA score, it means productivity because everybody's optimizing efficiency.
Hmm.
But the relationship cannot be measured on those components because it's a relationship. Like, you don't measure relationship on trying to optimize them. Okay, dinner,
Yes.
have 45 minutes, you
Uh-huh.
know,
It,
like, but go out to somebody
you,
on a dinner.
you, you have to chew your food, 5 times before swallowing, and you know. Um,
That's how
no.
most leaders see the customer experience. See the contact center as a production that can be optimized, and optimized, but they forget it's a relationship. And when you start treating it as a relationship, it's you'll see things that you've never seen before. So that was
No, it's yeah, as you were going through that, it's really reimagining um what what a good experience looks like. Um, Not just today, but for every day. Because what you and I are thinking or feeling as consumers for our particular product today is going to change tomorrow. Um, and having that real time, um, those real time data points can really help clients or help brands really adjust how they're interacting with their customers, both proactively and reactively.
I mean, because your customers is the biggest. I mean, you find, like I say, you can find gold in those,
Yes.
but nobody's looking at them.
Hmm.
Nobody's looking at them. And you have a product that you throw out, you can send emails or pay PR firms or anybody. It's there. Your customers will tell you.
Yeah.
It will tell you exactly what they like, what they don't like.
Hmm.
Like, another thing we added is on the churn prediction, we added competitors. If a customer names on an interaction the competitor's name, he's
Hmm.
thought about it.
Yep.
So in 90 days, he might think more about it. So
Hmm.
that's a high risk for us. That's a high risk customer.
One
There's no,
hundred percent.
once you start listening, because everybody right now, as you probably know, is high on their own supply with the AI. AI agent, AI agent, AI agent. And they're still making the same mistake, treating the contact center as a cost unit.
Hmm.
Okay, the AI agents are great for transactional, like check my balance, reset my password. Yeah, they'll never get tired. They work 24/7.
Hmm.
But right now, you can see the customers are sensing it. If they have an issue, they want to talk to an agent. It's hard for them to go and talk to an agent. The AI is being offered at first.
Hmm.
So the customer's view is not, okay, I'm not getting resolution. I'm just getting pawed up.
Yep.
I made that reference with Google, or I'm like, I don't expect Google. I have an issue with my Gmail. Get on the phone and Google answer. It's free. What am I going to do? Go to Bing? I'm going to try to figure it out on my own.
Yep.
But not every company is Google, you know.
Correct.
So you
Correct.
can treat your customers, especially nowadays when competition is fierce on every aspect.
But every customer wants to be treated how their best interaction is
Yeah.
treating them, regardless of who you are. Um,
And
so
I
back in the day, Zappos had, was known for its amazing, customer service, customer experiences, all the blah blah blahs. Um, and they did things that were really really cool, for their customers, and then people started catching on. Hey, maybe we need to do this, and so what I kind of see here is that you're taking traditional contact center metrics, and you're flipping it on its head,
yeah.
metrics on its head, saying, these are giving you a false sense of confidence of how you're performing. Is that a fair statement?
That's 100% fair statement.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you guys are becoming the new Zappos.
No, no, no,
Just
not
playing with
really.
you. Yeah, just playing with you there. Um, so what changes have occurred for your customers, when you've stopped looking at the customer interactions like in a transactional with a transactional lens, and start looking at them from a relationship perspective. Um, how has that improved, your clients' line of sight into the contact center?
Well, the first thing that changes is when you optimize for is the transactional model. The win condition is efficiency.
Hmm.
How handle time goes down, ticket close, customer clears in a relationship model. The win condition trajectory, meaning is the customer experience getting better or worse over time? These
Hmm.
are the different optimization targets. So, I mean, produce completely different behavior in your operation. So, in the transactional model, I call it transactional model. I will stick with it. I don't want to call it the factory metrics. A customer calls back 3 times about the same issues. It's counted as 3 separate closed tickets.
Hmm.
Score looks fine. Relation in the relationship model, that same customer is a 3-touch failure path. Means, and the system is asking why they have to call 3 times.
Hmm.
Does to their, let's say, the likelihood of renewing. So the ticket-based view shows you green. Dashboard's perfect. The relationship view shows you a customer who's running out of patience. So that's one of the big. The second one that changes how you think about is the agents. That's important because in a transaction model, agents are numbers on spreadsheet. Let's just be honest here. Everybody will say otherwise, but they're numbers on spreadsheet.
Hmm.
In the relationship model, the agents are your relationship stewards, and their
Yes.
well-being I'm sorry, and their well-being directly impacts the quality of these relationships. So, if
Hmm.
when an agent is burned out, sentiment score drops, the resolution quality drops, the empathy markers disappear from their language. The
Hmm.
customer feels it, but he can name it. He feels it, but he can
Yep.
name it. So in Zentara, we track agents' health seriously, and we track experience because actually connected. You cannot have one without the other. The agent and the customer are connected. So you
Yep.
can't just measure one, you got to measure them both, you know?
Because you're going to hear it in that, like you said, your agents really become the brand ambassadors
Hmm.
for the customer that they're providing services to. And as you're going throughout the day, you can tell how people ebb and flow throughout the day in how they interact with customers. If they have a really bad customer, they got something going on at home, you know, as an operational organization,
Oh
you
yeah.
want to get ahead of that before something goes really south. In with that agent, and how they're interacting as a brand ambassador, and you're able to pick up on that.
You have to because it's important. You can if you leave that out,
Yep.
it doesn't add up. So
Yep.
you can't just an agent is not a number on a spreadsheet, you know. If you
Hmm.
look at him as a relationship steward, the outcome will be much different. And you can be able to measure it differently. So
So it's not just the relationships that you're having with the customers, it's relationships that you start to have with your agents.
Mhm.
as well. So it's a full relationship model, um, as an integral part of the outcomes that you're trying to achieve. I love that. I love that. So how different does coaching and decision making um, look for your clients who are able to catch issues in the moment? So we kind of talked about this,
Yeah.
but do you have any stories um, of the insights that you're able to provide for your customers? Names do not need to be mentioned of who, but just anecdotally, what type of I guess relationship saving insights have you been able to provide for your customers?
Well, look at it this way. One of our clients is a wireless provider, FCC compliant.
Mm-hmm.
And your traditional QA workflow pulls out 10, 15 calls per week.
Mm-hmm.
They score against them in a rubric, produce a report. The supervisor sees it. The supervisor reviews it on Monday, schedules coaching sessions. So you're kind of scheduling this coaching session about something happened 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the workplace is dynamic.
Yeah.
You've taken 200, 300, 500 calls after that.
Yes.
Now I'm coaching you on something that happened, but you've created a pattern. So I'm not saying it's hard for me to coach you, but you've gotten comfortable with that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is you find out there's a complaint, one when it hits, I don't know, go Trustpilot or all
Uh-huh.
that, usually has an FCC complaint, or
Mm-hmm.
the agent, when they take a bad call, how are they going to tell you? They knowing that, okay, only 10% will be reviewed. So,
Yeah. They're just hoping that that's not one of the 10%.
yeah. And if it
It's a
does,
numbers game.
2, 3 weeks, the whole, it's not a new thing. It's like an old thing. Like you're trying to coach an agent on something that happens 3 weeks ago. But if you coach them on the spot, you catch them on the spot. Hey, now let's do it. We're not supposed to do it this way. We're going to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. It's different. I'm telling you, if I'm doing something wrong for 3 weeks and you're coaching me on it, I've created a pattern, feel comfortable with my wrongdoing
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
instead of here, and that's one of the coaching parts that catch. And the second one is the coaching culture is profound. Like supervisors stop being report readers. Like I'm gonna read a report and I'm gonna coach you. Isn't a session where what happened 2 weeks ago. It's a session what's happened this morning. Let's work on this together. The
Yes.
decision-making impact is significant. In a traditional operation, you find out you have a systemic problem when the CSAT dips and churn report comes in. With our chatbot, intelligence provider Quora, or as we wanted, as I told you, we want to call it Snitch, but it's corporately not well because it will tell you exactly what has happened. It will not polish it. It will tell you exactly what has happened. So
Yeah.
we'll find out the pattern appears on the data before it's systemic. One client discovered a new script team was using cause unnecessary escalation at a
Mm-hmm.
very specific point of the customer journey. So, but we catch that right there, right now, instead of when the quarterly review comes in, and
Yes.
you can actually change it there instead of let's just wait. So the
In
data
real time.
is insane
I love that. I love
because
that.
because most I'll tell you one problem that there is. The most dangerous number in the contact center is 4.3 out of 5.
Uh-huh.
Not because it's bad, it's actually pretty good, but it's dangerous because it feels conclusive. Most contact center leaders sees 4.3, move to the next slide. This is amazing. But they
Yep.
don't ask like 4.3 from who? From what percentage of the customer? Measured against
Mm-hmm.
what baseline? Correlated to what outcome?
Yep.
The numbers create the feeling of understanding and the substance of it, but that feeling, it's a real, like when it, I don't know how to describe it, but you have to ask questions. Why? But when you see that, oh, it's great, amazing. Moving to the next slide. You have to
What
ask,
use cases,
yeah.
and really dive deep into those.
So that's what you get out of it most. So
I love that. Well, we're getting closer to the end here of our conversation, Gertie. This has been like so insightful, and for folks that really haven't experienced much about XLAs. I mean, the way that you've approached XLAs in using existing data to go ahead and create a full 360 experience view is awesome. So I love that. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about being a founder. And you've had a pretty successful professional career. Um, and I'm particularly interested in your thoughts on this particular question. At this stage in my career, I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self X. How would this have helped you navigate your career or life in general?
Well, don't tell my younger self. I'll tell him your frustration is a product roadmap.
Okay.
Every time something drove you crazy, it's your roadmap. It's a blueprint, you know?
Yes.
It's you have to go through all that to kind of create this. I don't think at my younger self I would be able to create this because I was good at optimizing. Oh, I was optimizing, turning broken processes until I ran at 90%. But that's so far. That's the ceiling on optimization, you know? At some point you have to look at the system itself and ask whether you should be tuning it or replacing it. That's a big leap. So from fixing what exists and building what should exist. It's not only, but it's also generally scary.
Uh-huh.
Why? Because you have to be willing to be wrong at scale, not
Yes.
just wrong at margins. You have to be wrong at scale. And yeah, I should have made that leap earlier. So I should have told myself.
Love it. I love it. It goes back to that saying, always bet on yourself.
Yeah.
It's the best bet. So
It,
I love that. So we got to the speed round part of the our conversation. Are you ready for this?
it,
Let's go. So what fact about Gertie would people be surprised to learn about you?
oh, I'm not saying, well, that's a question. My personal belief, especially in the industry, I think that contact center is the most underused intelligent essence in the company. I think that's my belief that, and it's a personal belief.
Uh-huh.
It's everybody treats it as a cost center, headcount problem. It's actually an intelligent asset. Every day
Yes.
your agents talk to thousands of customers. They're hearing exactly what's working, what's not working, what's breaking, what people love, what people hate. Most companies extract none of these, like literally.
Uh-huh.
And I'm surprised about this. Like like because I think it's once you treat it as a production, cut cost here, cut cost there, optimize. It's like a cost guzzler. No wonder you can't extract any of that. But that's your first line of defense. Nobody knows the CEO. Everybody knows
Everybody
whoever answers.
knows
That's
John
the
taking
face.
calls.
That's the face of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I love that, Gertie, because I'm a believer also that in a in a hub and spoke visual, the hub of any organization is its customer interaction center, regardless of what channel you're using or
yeah,
what channels you're using, because that can feed out so much data, so much information to every other part of the organization. HR, product management, product development, marketing, sales, all the blah blah blahs industry term right there. And so you and I are very much aligned as far as how we view the contact center um, and its relationship to the rest of the organization. So I love that. I love that. Um, what's your go-to tactic? And I can't imagine you have stressful days. But what's your go-to tactic for unwinding after a stressful day?
well, it's actually I decompress by redirecting.
Okay.
I had a hard day on operations side, I'll spend an hour on product problems. Or if I have
Okay,
a hard day on a product, I'll work on strategy. So it's
nice.
kind of okay. Do I never stop working? No, that's not actually 100% true.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like stress because I choose what I work. That's the only thing I get out of it. I can actually choose what I work on instead of,
I love it.
well,
I love it. And some days it's business, some days it's family, some days it's, you know, doing whatever,
yeah, you have to have that clear. You gotta, because you gotta
Exactly.
start fresh the next day. So,
I love it. So what's one thing personally and professionally you'd like to accomplish in 2026?
well, I'd say personally, personally lose about 10 pounds. uh, but yeah, I mean, I want to welcome the conversation and based on the XLA. The XLA
Uh-huh.
being the because nobody's viewing it from, and I understand most CX leaders are actually really busy
Hmm.
because you got to get out and think it clearly. Like, hey, instead of just jumping on a ship, doing the same thing, jumping on another ship, doing the same, optimizing, tweaking. You'll not optimize more than 90%. That's it. That's the limit.
Hmm.
That's the speed of light of contact centers. So it's as far as you'll do. So I'm welcome. Like I really want to discuss Zentara and show people what can he do. Listen to their ideas. I want that
It's
conversation to be broad. People can like people need to understand like how what's in it for them for this. It makes their job 100% easier. I'm not saying it's a revolution, but it's something they need to look at it like, let's just
not a revolution, but
become
it's an
profitable.
evolution.
True. That is
Yeah.
an evolution. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Just how you kind of brought Zentara together. It was an evolution of thought, um, which I absolutely love. I
it is.
absolutely love.
From, I mean, this is if you look at it from the outsider, okay, I'm good. I don't know code.
Uh-huh.
I have zero code. But it's different when a coder builds something. It's like a mechanic building a car. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's reliable, it's strong, but the user experience is not because what I think it's comfortable to him, it's reliable. So with different worlds. So
Yes.
you need to build it for me. That I'm not a mechanic. I don't know how it operates. I know it drives nice. I don't.
As long as it doesn't leave you on the side of the road.
That is correct. So
um, well, just one final question. If someone wants to pick your brain about Zentara, um, XLAs, any thought leadership that you have around contact centers, or conferences that you might be attending, how can they get in contact with you?
well, I'm on LinkedIn 24/7.
Excellent.
So they can find me, Gerti Haxhiu. If they
Uh-huh.
want to talk, they'll talk with me. There is no I respond personally to everything. So
Excellent.
I'm
Excellent.
very active there. So
Excellent. And if anybody wants me to make an introduction to Gertie, feel free to go ahead and reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to. Gertie, this has been an amazing conversation, and I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your schedule to hop on this episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk with me. And just invite any of our viewers, anybody that's watching this. Again, if you have questions about Zentara, XLAs, want to find out a little bit more about Simetrix, feel free to go ahead and reach out and explore those conversations. There's no harm in a conversation. You're not buying anything during a conversation, but you are gaining knowledge. And I like the way you put this as before. It's not a revolution; it's an evolution of thought, and continue to challenge yourself. Message to my viewers are continue to challenge yourself with evolutions of thought, in how you look at the contact center world or leadership today. So, Gertie, thank you so much again. Look forward to future conversations with you. And if viewers like this episode, please click on like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And Gertie, you have yourself a great rest of your day.
thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure.
All right. Thank
So
you
much.
much.
Thank you.